Hello everyone and welcome to our IBM Cognos Analytics webcast. My name is Candace Taylor and I'm the Director of Marketing for Cresco International, and I will be the moderator for today's webcast. We first want to start off by thanking you for joining. A quick note before we get started, we will be recording the webcast and we'll send out a link of the recording to everyone as soon as it is available. Also, please feel free to ask questions throughout the webcast today by using the Q&A section on your control panel on your screen. We will review questions during the Q&A portion at the end of the webcast. Our agenda for this webcast today: Sanjeev Datta, Practice Director for Cresco, will be providing information on what's new with Cognos BI. Plus, he will provide an in-depth demo on Cognos Analytics. Sanjeev will then pass the floor to Dale Gibler, Analytics Sales Executive for Cresco, who will briefly review licensing information. Therefore, at this point, I would like to now send it over to Sanjeev to start the webcast. Sanjeev?
Thank you, Candace. I hope you can see my screen here. All right, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to the event. I just wanted to go over what is new out there in Cognos Analytics. In case you haven't heard of it, it's the new offering from IBM. They call it Cognos 11. It's a cloud-based environment, and so I wanted to start off with talking about what's new out there. If you're an existing customer, what you should be looking out for. We get into a demo, and as Candace mentioned, then we'll have Dale talk about the licensing options, and we have some announcements to make us at the end of this event. So first of all, it's great to go on the cloud, and we're very excited to bring Cognos Analytics to you. As you're seeing, it's actually it's built on trusted business intelligence heritage, with Cognos being such an old product within the IBM stack of analytics. It is a self-service application. It is built on the intelligence to easily amplify and incorporate insight into your everyday actions. But one thing, if I was to describe this in one word, I would say Cognos Analytics is self-service. And my background has been working in Cognos products for over a decade, and I can tell you from watching how the products have changed, this is probably the easiest product that you could use and have your business users use to build reports and do analytics very quickly. Also, one of the things that we're noticing is that because it's so easy to use, both power users and casual users can improve their productivity and eliminate these boundaries that are created usually in other products as well, where the power users and consumers are on different systems. So this is one environment. Everyone logs into one system, and it's great to have everything from an administrative point of view as well in one location. All right, so it's not only great for savings, but also it is what I would call a strategic reinvention. We're noticing a lot of our clients, about 136% of our clients, more likely to reinvent customer relationships. And the reason why this is happening is because it's so much easier to work on this product that the time to train anyone in your organization has been reduced. Also, we're noticing that companies view this as more of a competitive advantage, where almost 80% are more likely to rely on the cloud to locate and leverage expertise anywhere in the ecosystem. I'll give you an example. We have a few clients that are global in their reach, and they have companies that roll up to them from the U.S. all the way to Australia and all the other countries in Europe, in the Midwest, in the Middle East. And so one of the challenges that we were always having is making sure that either using VPN connections in prior versions of Cognos or other forms of connecting to the Cognos environment was a hassle, because of every different country had their own different ways of connecting. But this has made it so much easier, where we have one cloud environment and folks log in and they can start using Cognos Analytics very quickly and very easily. The other option is getting away from firewalls. So that's another thing that is, from our past experiences, has been a cumbersome task to get around. You still will leverage the IBM security. It's a very trusted security, and your users will have trusted data coming through that. So, as I mentioned, this is more of a self-service application. It's very easy to build reports off. The nice thing is you can build static reports, interactive reports. You can also go the dashboard or the new option that they've come up with in this version is the infographics. So when I look at something like this, I look at multiple departments, not just the usual sales and finance that use this, but also departments like marketing departments can start using the new Cognos Analytics. And for the power users, you still have the data modules and ad hoc reports. You can still do data modeling and professional reports. All in all, it fits into one location. Does a pretty good job of managing all environments in one location. So this is a quick snapshot of what Cognos Analytics looks like. I am going to get into the product in a few minutes, but I wanted to just discuss the look and feel of this. What's nice about it is because it's self-service, one of the nice things that IBM has done is actually making it true self-service. Prior versions or other products out there, you still have to have an IT involvement of some kind. So think of it this way, you log into a website which is based on IBM's cloud system, and now what you're doing is you're actually giving either line of business owners or departmental wise, and you're saying, I'm giving this environment, and you can start building your data sources, you can start adding users to it. And the nice thing about this is Cognos has built-in security, so all you have to do is you just have to start adding users to your connection, and within a few minutes you can add your entire department. So that's really nice about this version. The other one is data sources. A lot of times we've seen clients say, okay, you know what, I want to go from using an existing package, I want to add additional data, maybe in an Access database or an Excel file, and I want to bring it into my Cognos environment. Well, you can do that here as well. Those features still exist, where if you remember, if you're an existing Cognos client and you have Cognos Report Studio where you can add external data sources, those features still exist. This is different. This is more of getting users to connect to their data sources, and you can see multiple data sources as well. So just over here you can see Amazon Redshift, so you can connect to different cloud systems other than IBM. If you have data residing on Teradata or any other location, you can always connect your IBM Cognos BI environment to other data sources. All right. I want to spend some time discussing what we should be doing about, what we should know about moving to the IBM Cognos Analytics. And there's a lot of information in the next 3 slides. So I'm going to go over it one by one, and hopefully I can help answer most of the questions that we've seen prior to this webinar once we announced that we're going to be doing this webinar. So yes, so customers can upgrade and still run Cognos 10 as they do today. If you have existing Cognos 10 reports, you can still bring them in. One of the things that you should note is CWA or Cognos Workspace Advanced and Report Studio reports can be upgraded. They will show up in a new portal when you run those reports. Cognos Workspace, Query Studio, and Analysis Studio, as well as portal pages, they will now be launched in a new window. So we're trying to discourage building the portal pages, and once we start getting to the demo, it'll make sense why. Existing reports upgraded in a non-interactive mode by default. You can switch to interactive mode, but what it'll do is it'll remove your JavaScript and any prompt APIs that you have out there. So just make sure you know which reports you're using to migrate. Now, Cognos Workspace will still be available. Just like Report Studio, it will open in a separate tab. We don't recommend installing Query Studio and Analysis Studio at this point because IBM has announced that these studios will be deprecated, and so if you have the option, uncheck that, so you don't want to give your users the Query Analysis Studio. What about clients who are already using Framework Manager, the compatible query mode, dynamic query engine, dynamic cubes, cube designer, transformer, power play? Those will all remain the same, so you don't have to worry about this new version and how it's going to impact your existing IBM content, Cognos content. IBM would not do that. Other products like Event Studio, Metric Studio, they will also work just the way they're working. They will open in a new browser, as well as drill through definitions. So those will open in a new browser as well. Going to the mobile native apps, they will not allow any regular reports, only active reports and Cognos Workspace. So just make sure that if you have users who are who heavily use the mobile app, now is a good time to convert your current regular Report Studio reports into active reports on Cognos Workspace. Some other things. With this version, it's a very lightweight version in a browser, so it's built for performance. It makes sure that your reports run much quicker, and so they're using standard HTML. If you have reports that are printed on forms, so what they call reports using quirk mode in HTML, they will require some touch-up. So just make sure if you have reports on forms, you want to make sure that you pay extra attention to them when you're migrating from Cognos 10 to 11. As I mentioned, Cognos Connection is gone, so it's going to be it is replaced by this new portal. It's very lightweight, scalable. What I really like about it, it has this search engine which helps finding not just reports but data objects very easily. Something that the Cognos community has been asking for a very long time. So it's a very good search engine within the product. Because it's on the cloud, there is no administration required, not as much as if you're on prior versions of this version, because IBM will automatically update, so you always have the latest fix pack, you always have the latest hot fixes, latest versions, if you go down this path. Now, the term My Folders is now changed to My Content. We see that in the demo. The report views are now created by running reports, and basically what it does is it just captures the current prompt values, kind of does a cache of the data to make sure that your reports run much quicker. They've also added this thing called subscriptions, which allow users to quickly schedule a personal copy of a report when created when viewing reports. If you're viewing a report, it gets cached as a subscription, and you can always schedule your own version, right? The older user interface continues to use the quirk mode of HTML, so you want to make sure that if you have any customizations to the older version, those will not migrate over, or if they do, they won't show up correctly. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind as well. Drill-through definitions, they will be only supported by Framework Manager and OLAP cubes, but not by data modules. I'll get to what data modules is in a few minutes, so just make sure that if you have drill-through, it will work with Framework and OLAP. You also have the ability in this version to upload external file sizes. The limit by default is 100 MB, and for default for one user for all sizes of file is 500 MB. So one file can be up to 100 MB, and all file sizes should not exceed 500 MB. And now that is a default, so you can always change that depending on your usage. Because this is a cloud version, we will see more releases coming out of the new Cognos Analytics. One of them is the authoring with multiple Framework Manager packages or data modules is going to be available in the coming releases. It's not yet there. But for now, what we can do is we can take two data modules and create a third one. So it's kind of like joining two different data sets and applying that on the data end. This is more for power users. We've got conditional styles that you can apply with data modules. That also is going to be available in the next release. Now, intent-driven modeling, this is a new concept. So if you come from the prior versions of Cognos and you're used to the Framework Manager packages and so on, you can still use them to a certain extent. But the idea of intent-driven modeling is you only add what you're supposed to build. This concept is put out there so that business users can actually start building their own reports, can start adding their own data. And Cognos from what I've been using it seems to be a much more intelligent tool where it can actually figure out what the data looks like, what the data needs to be, and how it can create joins. So that is something that is pretty cool for a developer. From a developer standpoint, if you're a business user, you won't kind of see the difference, but it's actually doing some pretty intelligent things in the back end. Now, the intent-driven modeling also recognizes a fact from a dimension by looking at the number of rows, data types, and distributions of values in some of the columns. So it does a pretty good job of building a star schema as well. And then you've got the other option of snapshots where cached copy of your data module is stored in a file system. It's all done to improve the query performance. If you're running reports and you don't want to hit the database all the time, so it avoids those peak hour peaks in data, and also it creates a snapshot, so it's a point-in-time view of your data. Now, there are so many more new features to this, and we won't have time to go over all of it. So we are about to put up a blog. At the end of today, we should have the blog out there. So keep checking. We'll send you a link to the blog where you can read all the details with screenshots, and it's going to be very in-depth. All right, so from here, we have a quick poll. I'm going to pass it on to Candice, and then we'll get into the demo. Candice?
Thanks, Sanjeev. So we're going to do a really quick poll that'll pop up on your screen. I'll launch it right now. And it's basically saying, are you considering to migrate your current analytics software onto a cloud platform? So if you would answer yes or no on your screen, and we'll just take a little bit of time here to allow attendees to kind of start to answer this. So just about less than a minute, and we'll be a little quiet here so you guys can take this poll, and then we'll close the poll. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now, and we'll share the results on your screen here so you can see. So when it comes to migrating your current analytics software onto a cloud, we have about 18% as yes and 82% as no. I'll hide the results now, and I'll send it back over to you, Sanjeev.
All right, thanks, Candice. This is a good time for us to start looking at the product. So I'm going to get into the Cognos Analytics. As you'll notice, I'm actually using a web browser to log in. And the first thing that comes to mind is it's a very clean approach. So this is what traditionally used to be Cognos connection, but now you've got this this welcome screen, and basically this shows you some of the things that I've been working on, or most recent reports or dashboards. This is the search functionality, and I like the fact that it's all the way on the top, so it helps in searching for, as I mentioned, data or any kind of objects available, or reports, dashboards, data objects. It's pretty cool stuff, right? This is my content. This is the my Cognos Connect, or this is public folder, my folder. This is what it's now being called, and you can see I have some files available in here. Team content is the public folder, so you'll see all the packages and folders available in here. I'm logged in as an admin, so I do have the ability to build more users or folders if I want to. And then this is the recent, what are the reports that I've been working on. Does a pretty good job. I think that by default shows you about 20, so I can pick and choose what are my latest reports I've been working on. Over here, we've got set as view, and then this is where I can get in and look at some of my preferences, sign in, sign out. So my preferences are pretty much just the same that you would see in Cognos Connection. For new users, what this helps you do is it helps you select what kind of format you want the report to run in. If you want to see some hints, you can set your time zone and so on. So this should be, whatever time zone you want to set. And then personal ones would be, what is my email address that I'm going to use, or any advanced functionality. So you'll notice as soon as I click on advanced functionality, it brings me out to a new window. And you'll see that a lot with some of the legacy Cognos 10 functionality. They're still not integrated completely into this environment. Okay? So with that, I'm going to look at some more options before I get into actually building a quick dashboard. Manage, this is for administrators. This takes you into accounts. Now I say admins, but this does give the line of business users the ability to build their own. So I'm right now, I'm going to role play that I'm, maybe head of marketing, and I can say, I want to add certain groups or roles, and I could do that very easily. So I have this Cresco folder created, and if I want to add roles in here, I could just say, add marketing people or marketing role, and then start assigning objects to that role. So only specific people in the marketing group can see certain objects in my report. Activities, this is where I can see any schedules that have been running, upcoming, past, and current. Content. Now this is where I could do my backups, my restores, so if something has been lost or I need to pull back something, I can do that. Now data servers, this is pretty cool where I can start building my, accessing different data source connections. So if I know that I have data lying in multiple locations, I can bring them all together, and I can use data modules and merge them and start building reports off of that. Okay. This is configuration, so typical production or non-production type. If I want to encrypt my files, this is the default that I was mentioning, where a per user limit of 100 MB and 500 MB for total stored data by user. And then I have my administration console. When I click on the admin console, you'll notice it still goes back out and brings us to this familiar look of, I'll switch windows here real quick, but brings me back to the admin Cognos 10 administrative window, right? So nothing has changed over here. Everything still remains the same. The idea behind this is that this is more for the power user, right? This is where a true admin, an IT admin, can come in and start creating connections to your ERP or your data warehouse, but also come in here and start managing the back-end systems and the servers and all of that stuff. So that we want to keep away from the end user. But still, if I'm a power user within my own department, I can still go ahead very quickly and start adding users and roles and don't have to depend on IT and take up all that time. So I'm going to get into building a quick dashboard. We typically bring sales data or financial data, wanted to do something different. It's a new product, wanted to make it look cool. So what I have here for you is a dashboard that I'm going to build out. And this is where I can build reports, dashboards, or data modules, right? And what I want to do next is I want to build a dashboard. And if you've used Watson Analytics, you'll notice it's very similar to Watson Analytics. So if I go ahead and say, I'm going to build a dashboard, I want to look at some data related to movies, and I want to do some analysis around that. So I have the option of selecting different types of templates. I could also use a free-form template and start building things around that, or I could get into the infographics. This is typically used for marketing or making announcements, and it does a pretty good job. So the idea behind this is that I have these 4 quadrants in my selection, and I want to be able to add reports and objects in here. So what I'm going to do is I have an idea of what I want to build, and I'm going to start bringing in data. So the next thing I do is I basically just upload some data. And what I have is on my desktop, I've got this Excel file, which is Bond 007 movie data. I'm going to bring it in. And since I already had it prior to this demo, I'm just going to say, yes, I'm going to replace this. Otherwise, it would just show up. Okay, so it looks like it's been imported. I'm going to use my content and bring this over. So you'll see this is the data. Now, these are columns of my data, and I can drag and drop them onto my dashboard and start building dashboards. The nice thing is this is very similar to Cognos Workspace, so most of you should be able to relate to this if you've used this product before. I'm going to build some analysis around the Bond movies, the franchise, and so I'm going to take some data and start putting it on to the different quadrants. So let's start off with looking at adjust box office. I'm going to take this. This actually denotes that this is a number, right, compared to bond actor, which is more of a text item. So I can drag and drop this anywhere on this quadrant. And what it does is it shows me a huge number. It says 11 billion in adjusted box office dollar value, right? So now what I want to do is I want to break this down by film. So I could take film and I just place it right on top of this. What it does for me is it actually looks at my data and it's actually building relationships and saying, okay, so based on revenue, let's break it down by film. And I can place this in this quadrant. So very easy to adjust and put it in the quadrant, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just the adjust box office once again. I'm going to bring it on the right-hand side and leave it there so I can see the numbers as I wanted to see them. So this is more of a chart. So you'll notice as I change the sizes based on my screen resolution, this will automatically adjust as I bring this up. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get actor information. So bond actor, I'm going to bring this out again and place this in the right quadrant. What I'm actually doing is I'm just bringing out different columns, and as they're based on the data type, what Cognos is doing is it's actually saying, okay, based on this data type, I think you're more likely best suited to be viewed in this format. If I want, I can make changes. So if I can click on change visualization, I can select from here multiple different types of visualizations that I want to use. Or if I want to make some adjustments, I could do that. And we'll get to these in a second. Also, this gives me the ability to search. So we didn't have this before. It's much, much quicker than previous versions. So I'm going to bring this over here. This also acts as a filter now. So as and when I select on these actors, you'll notice that based on the data that I've brought in, without making any joins or any such things, it's actually already doing some filters for me. So this is very powerful stuff as a business user. I don't have to worry about any other objects or any calculations or any kind of data stitching. All right. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more data here. Okay. And the way I can do this is I'm going to select 2 or maybe more objects if I need to. In this case, I'm just going to look for bond actor. And I'm going to look at total dispatched. So how much have they brought in? Drag my selection across and bring it here. So what this is actually showing me is total dispatch sum by bond actor. So I know who's more profitable for me as an actor, who's doing a much better job. Okay. So once again, I'm just going to show you if I start selecting on any of these, they're all tied together, which is very, very valuable for me at this point. Okay, I'm going to drop film rating as well. So I'm going to find film rating, and this is something that's placed here. I can drag and drop film rating. What this actually shows me is the different ratings by actors and what kind of movies they make. And so if I'm a parent, I need to make a decision of which Bond movies I should see before even watching the film with my kids. All right, so at this point, what I could do is I could select all of these and go back to what I'm looking at here. I want to be able to adjust this so that what I could do is if I want, I take all my actors and I create another chart. So a nice way to do this is instead of going out and building a new chart, I could just click on this and I could say duplicate. And what this duplicate does is it just takes, basically it's taking the exact query and building a exact copy of it over here. And that allows me to change the queries in different types. So what I could do over here is go back and say, you know what, I want to view this in a different format of visualization. At this point, what I could do is I could say, I think this would make more sense if I look at it from a word cloud, right, and adjust this back. All right, so what this is doing is it's actually going to show me by user, by actor, it's going to show me all the different types of movies they've worked on, and the size of the wordings are obviously by revenue that these movies have made. Okay, I can also go ahead and add some media to this. So what I can do is I could come into media and I could say, show me, maybe I could put in a movie clip, or I could just go out and put a website or an image. At this point, I'm just going to put an image, and very easily I could just add a website that will basically go out and bring the image of this actor. Now, there are a lot more things I could do here at this point in terms of making this look more appealing, you know, with shading or just adjusting the opacity available to me with the product. So I'm just going to start adjusting things around. I can grab this right here, maybe pull this over here and take the adjusted revenue, just make some placements, right? Okay, so very quickly I'm doing my analysis, and what I also want to do is I want to change this out to look in a different format. So at this point I could say, you know what, I'm going to take this visualization and make it more of a tree map, which is what I think will make more sense to the end user who's viewing this. So there we go. So bring this back and make it into a tree map. So what I wanted to show was how easily I could build into a workspace and kind of build my look and feel. Now, one thing you should note is I'm not building any report studio or Cognos workspace. Everything is all built in here itself. I do still have the options of building my own reports, and I'll get to that in a second. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and change this, give it a nice title. And if I could just look at some options over here, some settings, you can always change the different styles that you want. So if this makes more sense, you know, just make some adjustments. But very quickly, from an end user's perspective, I was able to build a quick dashboard in Cognos Analytics and you know, start sharing it with my users. So I could save this and have people access my folders or start promoting this into the team content. I can go ahead and click more tabs if I need to and start adding more objects in here and so on. So this was a very basic impression I wanted to show. There's some other advanced functionalities like this tab over here. So if I click on it, this will actually show me, let's say if I make a selection for one individual, so I take Pierce Brosnan, and it actually shows me the data that's available behind it. So I can make much informed decisions without having to go to a different screen, but very clearly I can look at, you know, all the other variables attached to this actor in this data set and see how this is actually you know, giving me much more information than just my quick dashboard, right? All right, so at this point, what I would like to do is I'm going to show you very quickly. I don't think we have time to build additional objects, but I want to get into showing you how I could build reports, and we can talk some more about you know, moving on to the cloud. So I just want to announce that we do have some events coming up, which are free events, which will help you build reports such as these. This is a typical Cognos environment. If I want to get creative, I want to use some mappings, I want to use charts, build financial reports, and how I can do this within Cognos Analytics. And so just look out for the announcement. But this was more of a, let's see what we can do within you know, Cognos Analytics and build a quick dashboard. So this is what we just built. I'm actually going to pass this back on to Dale, or I would like to now show you how to use the intent-driven modeling. The intent-driven modeling is used to add tables into your data module. The idea behind this is it proposes tables to include in the module based on matches between terms that are supplied and the metadata in the underlying scores. At this point, what I want to do is I want to take the intent-driven modeling, get some data, join two different data sets, and kind of create reports out of those. So let's see how that's done. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload some files. Now I have two files that I want to upload. One is the sales for Americas and the sales for Asia Pacific. Since I've already uploaded those files, I could just go ahead and create my new data module. At this point, I'm going to select Uploaded Files, and these are the two files that I've uploaded. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK or Start. So while I have these two files available as the selected sources, I need to bring them in the Data Module section. So I'm just going to bring them across, and they are present now on the workspace. I need to add a value, something that I'm looking for. So for example, I'm looking for sales revenue. Click on Go. All right, I'm going to add this to the proposal. And at this point, I need to create some relationships between the two different data sets. I'm going to let the relationship be based on the products. So right here, I'm going to select Create New Relationship. I'm going to select the two different tables or the different data sources. At this point, one is sales of Asia Pacific, while the other one is sales for Americas. From the drop-down list, I'm going to join them on the product because I know that the products are sold across the same regions. So that would be a good column between the two different data sets to connect to. So at this point, I'm going to select, scroll down, and select product. So we select product on both tables, and we've just created our join. At this point, we can also select the cardinality type. So if it's a one-to-one or one-to-many, the join type, and the filter if we want to apply any kind of filter on our join. At this point, we don't. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the generic product-to-product join between the two different data sources. Go ahead and click on OK. And there I see a join is being created. At this point, I could go ahead and try to see what the report or the data would look like. I also have this option over here which will show the cardinality, and this shows me a one-to-n join, one-to-many join. Let's go ahead and try it. And this opens a new window. It's going to bring up a list report, a blank list report with my data set. At this point, what Cognos Analytics has just done has merged the two data sets together. So it's easy for me to pick country and revenue from one data set and choose country and revenue from the other data set, which happens to be a different region. And I know that since we've done a join on the product, I'm going to bring the product together. And it looks like a regular Cognos 10 report. Let's go ahead and run this report. When I click on Run, I'm going to select the Run HTML option. Another window opens. And Cognos Analytics ties the data together, makes it in a presentable format, and displays it for me on my window. While that's loading up, let's take a look at this. So for those of you familiar with the Cognos 10 or prior versions, this is my typical list report. I do have some options over here to apply some conditions, to apply some colors, some filters. I could also apply some headers and footers and so on, and I have some more options as well. If I click on properties, this shows me the properties available for the list. I also have the option of looking at the different layout options and the different containers. If I want to add a map or other visualizations, apply prompting, I could always do that over here. Okay, so very, very similar to the Cognos 10, just a different format, as well as Query Explorer, Conditional Explorer, Page Views, and if I'm creating any joins between queries, this is where I can find that information. Let's go back and look at our result. So there we go. We've got a result which shows us the product by country and revenue for each country. So very quickly, as a business user, I was able to take two different data sets, apply some intent-driven modeling, which would typically be done in Framework Manager, but as a business user now I have the capability and the power to actually do this myself. I'm going to go back, and now I could also use a pivot option to pivot my list into a crosstab and run the report again. Similarly, when I come back to my report and look at the properties for the crosstab, I will have different properties for the crosstab. Let's go back to the report. I can then save this report in any format that I would like, and I could start sharing it with my end users. There we go. Not the best view, but it gives me a good example of what my report looks like. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. I think I have one more slide to talk about. Yep. So if you're moving towards getting this, there are three different options of installing. Either you can ready to run, which is an option when you install this, which is a complete install of Cognos Analytics. It includes an Informix database, which is typically used for small, medium-sized businesses and line of business applications. The other option is the expand, where you can start adding additional servers that are ready to run configuration. And the custom one is when you want to start breaking Cognos install across different tiers, so the app tier, data tier, and the gateway. There are some changes to the gateway in the way this is installed. So your typical CGI or ISAPI, those have changed because of the lightweight viewer that exists now in this version. Also, there's a lifecycle manager release coming out very, very soon, and that is going to help in migrating a lot of your existing Cognos 10 environments into the Cognos 11 or Cognos Analytics. Okay? So with that, I'm going to pass it to Dale. Dale?
Hey, thanks, Sanjeev. Man, I'm always impressed when I see this demo. Really am. I wanted to discuss the value of IBM Cognos software as a service and some of the licensing options that IBM has for you. This slide suggests clients are finding tremendous value in switching to the cloud. And here are some of the key points and reasons why they are doing this. In addition to low entry costs and reduced risk, the speed to value and agility are so beneficial, where with minimum infrastructure costs, upgrades, fixed packs, hot fixes are automatically completed by IBM. IBM will always inform you, the clients and all clients, before they do these upgrade fixed packs. So eventually, it lowers the IT costs and provides better software support for you. There's also the operational expense versus capital expense comparison, where the cloud solutions are a subscription service that allows you to easily budget approvals in most organizations without any extra surprises with on-prem types of situations. Here are the, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Here we discuss the three options with 50 to 100 and 150 user minimums. We got three options. The first one is a workgroup license. The license structure is a semi-annual contract and has about 95% uptime, user storage of about 100 gigs, and disaster recovery up to about 100 gigs as well. You'll still get the general services like ad hoc reporting, visualization, user role and management, etc. Those things will all be available for you at this point. The standard option is a per month with an annual basis contract with pre-production environment, including higher storage and disaster recovery, and added options for performance and storage. For the Enterprise Edition, it provides higher performance environment with greater uptime and 5 times the storage per user and disaster recovery compared to the workgroup option. You can always grow slowly, and that's the beauty of this thing, and build the model you're using or you know, as you grow with the different choices that you have. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so here's the licensing information for the new Cognos Analytics. For those clients who are currently existing Cognos 10 or prior version clients, there's a bridge to cloud offering, which is a pretty good deal, where IBM allows you to actually continue to use the existing on-prem license, but also gives you the option of access to the cloud version. And this is really a neat deal. It's a convenient way to migrate your Cognos content over to the test out the cloud BI. We do have a bunch of clients who are already doing this, and the feedback we've got from them is really, and the reviews are really good at this point. So you should definitely look into the option of dual entitlement without dual payment. I can be of assistance to you, or anyone who's Cresco can be assistance to you. Feel free to contact us at sales@crescoitnl.com. We'll help you. We'll get you set with that information. Some more information, you may have options to select, such as 1, 2, 3-year terms, whereby the longer the term will fetch you lower price or better price. And we can offer you complimentary price quotes so you know what it will cost you over time, and we'll be more than happy to do that. Okay, let's look at the next slide. Hey, this slide goes over the SLA, or Service Level Agreement with typical IBM Cloud Service via IBM Software, which is their SaaS division. As you can see, IBM takes the accountability of making sure you're online 24/7, 365 days by contract. Any downtime that is faced by the clients, IBM will provide credit-based availability, uptime, and downtime. Let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. This is a calculation of availability that you see on your SLA from IBM. It's calculated as a percentage of available minutes per 30 days over a total month minutes, anywhere between, say, 95% to 99%. Once again, if there's any more questions, we'll be more than happy to help you and assist you. This is where our expertise really lies in at Cresco, and we would love to help save our clients some cash, some money, make the transition easier for you. That's what we're here to do for you. We really are. At this point, I'd like to go ahead and hand this over to Sanjeev, who is going to do the recap. Back to you, Sanjeev.
Thanks, Dale. So just a quick recap on what you can expect from Cognos Analytics. So first of all, the first thing we see is it's a simplified user experience. It is designed for faster performance and efficiency. It does replace the Workspace Advanced and Report Studio and the viewer into one integrated experience. So you can still use the legacy capabilities like Framework Manager or Metric Studio. You can also roll out to new user groups with minimal effort and training as well. The other things are, you have secure data, so it's a secure environment with no data movement required and the ability to report off multiple data sources, which is very valuable and time-saving to any business. It's self-service, so you can get it done in minutes. You have the delivery flexibility where you can pass it on to your analysis to anyone, whether it's offline reporting or interactive reporting. It's intuitive. It increases your analytic skills without training. Once again, it's true collaboration. So basically, you're instantly sharing findings effortlessly and immediately, and you can collaborate across teams and within the ecosystem of your organization. So with that, I think we can pass it on to Candace for any Q&A.
Thanks, Sanjeev, and thank you, Dale, as well, for such a great presentation today. We do have a question to go over today, but again, if you guys, all of the attendees, have any questions, please ask us right now on your question section on your control panel, and we will answer as many questions as we can today in the time we have. The first question that we do have, Sanjeev, is, will this work with Amazon or any other cloud offerings?
Yes, so this is, we're seeing this a lot. We're seeing a lot of clients are actually moving to, different clouds and different levels of their system, so whether it's back-end or databases or just the application layer. So yes, they've done a pretty good job of integrating, whether you're using IBM for one, IBM's cloud for one app layer, and you've got other application layer on other vendors. You can very easily have both actually communicate with each other.
Great, thanks, Sanjeev. It looks like that's all the questions we have for now. If you do have more questions, please feel free to connect with us, and we'll show you our email address up on the screen soon, and we can respond to you right away. Before we do conclude this webcast, I do want to let you guys know of another upcoming event we are having a Cognos Analytics online workshop. And so this is a more personal workshop where we will go over Cognos Analytics with you. If you're interested in this, you can email us at info@crescointl.com, and that is on Monday, February 29th. So please let us know if you're interested. Also, if you have any other questions from this webcast, you can email us at info@crescointl.com, and myself or Sanjeev will get back to you right away with the answers to the questions you might have. Thank you all again for joining the webcast. We appreciate any and all comments regarding this webcast. It is important for us to craft a webcast around our audience. So if there's any specific webcasts you're looking for or training or anything like that, please let us know. You can contact us at the phone number you see on your screen or the email address, or visit our website. And again, Sanjeev mentioned a blog post today that we will be posting on our website that will go over a little bit more in depth on Cognos Analytics and upgrading and what's new. So this does conclude the webcast for today. Sanjeev and Dale, do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add?
I just want to say this, the webinar that the online 29th February workshop that we have is actually going to be a 4-hour session. It's about 4 to 6 hours depending on number of people join, but it's going to be completely hands-on where you actually get into the product and start building Report Studio. We also help you in converting some of your existing reports from Cognos 10 into this version. So I think that'll be a really good value that we can provide to you. So once again, it's completely complimentary. Do check it out. You can always register by sending an email or getting in touch with us through multiple ways. I just want to thank you for your attention, and yep, if you have any more questions, we're always available.
Great. Thank you, guys, and have such a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.